He kōna i purangi tēnei nā 4 and 5 films mo te reorirangi o Aotearoa. Kia ora koutou, just a little heads up. In this episode, we are going to be hearing about some pretty hard stuff, like whakamomori or suicide, depression and loss. If you do choose to listen, please take care. We also think it's pretty important to mention that this episode is definitely about personal stories. It's not intended to replace the advice of your medical professionals. So please listen with that in mind. We just want to add a little something extra to the kōrero for you to think about. Aroha nui. May we boundlessly dream of possibilities beyond our wildest imaginations.
I dream of a world where we can be our fluid selves.
May we weave communities of support, compassion and active solidarity.
I dream of a world where we can come together.
With our histories in front of us and our tūpuna at our shoulders, may we walk into a future that is connected and thriving for all.
I dream of a world where Māori people have got our land back.
Where takatapui can be free.
Where Indigenous knowledge is recognised.
And as we heal Te Taiao, we naturally heal ourselves.
My name is Kahu Kutia and this is He Kākano Ahau, Season 2. Piki mai, kake mai. Like many of us within te ao Māori, I carry a grief born of losing loved ones to suicide. I also think about all those I've loved and almost lost, the ones who are still here. This episode is pretty close to my heart. It's really hard to even think about all the reasons why stuff like this happens, and I don't necessarily think we're the best at talking about it, because it is hard. But I have so many questions, and as always, I have a hunch that maybe there are some answers in the knowledge of our people. In this episode, we're going to head to a really dark place.
That one really took a big toll of me and my family too.
And meet some of the people shining a light.
And they come out knowing that they can get through this.
Māori youth are among the most overrepresented in the world when it comes to statistics for youth suicide. There's a report from UNICEF in 2020 that shows that our youth suicide statistics are the second highest in all countries termed to be developed. That's the international perspective. When we come down to Aotearoa, we see that Māori make up about a quarter of all suicide numbers, and it gets especially bad for 15 to 24-year-olds.
This is the place that really sparked my research.
This is Ricky Solomon. He's an embalmer from Tāmaki Makaurau, and he's worked with a lot of whānau who have lost their loved ones to suicide. We'll hear more about the research part soon.
We will get phone calls and asked to, we've got another young person that's taken their life. It used to be frustrating for us. Not that we didn't want to help them, but we're like, well, what's going on? Why do we have to come in? And that's why I started looking outside of here. What can we do in the community to have a look what's going on and what can we use of mātauranga Māori or Māori frameworks that could help out or empower our people. I don't like using the word help. Well, I always say we don't need help. We have everything we need. We just need the space to create that.
The space we were in is a really great example of that, though you'd never know it from the outside. We're in a really industrial part of Tāmaki, and Ricky's building looks like a random warehouse.
Some of them are quite like, when I go out there to meet them, they're like, is that it? Why have you got them in a shed?
It's a slightly weird place to find an embalmer, but the moment you step inside, it all makes sense.
We don't like to call it a funeral home. We call it he whare ko iwi, which is a whare for all iwi to come.
In this whare ko iwi, whānau who've lost a loved one can come, they can sit, they can eat, they can hear kōrero. Everything about this place is designed to aid this healing process that we have and to help contextualise a whānau's loss. From the colour of the tiles on the floor to the many artworks lining the walls.
Each artwork creates a conversation that is around the loss of their loved one, but we can use them as narratives to help them through their mourning. They leave here happier than what they came in, and that's our whole purpose. Is they come out with determination, they come out being empowered and enabled, knowing that they can get through this.
We're going to come back to Ricky, and I know he has a lot of great stuff to say, but first I want to introduce you to someone else. We're on our way to Manurewa in South Tāmaki Makaurau. We're heading into a neighbourhood that I've never been in before, to the home of a rapper called Rānui Mars.
Nice to see you.
Kia ora, how's it?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hey, yeah, you too. Hey, yeah, come in. Kia ora, ko te maramatanga toku ingoa, ko whakarara te maunga, ko wainui te awa, ko wainui te marae, ko Ngāti Rūaumoko te hapu, ko Ngāpu te iwi. Yeah, I'm just a Māori Polynesian rapper from Rānui, and I go by the name of Rānui Mars.
What is my purpose? Tell me, why do I feel worthless? My heart's burning, I keep urging, we still searching for better days. They never come in my way. The oppressor got me hanging on the dresser. I question my fate.
Te maramatanga knows what it's like to lose a loved one to suicide, and actually he talks about it really openly in his music. I think that's really powerful, especially coming from a tāne Māori.
Yeah, I make music and help try to influence my own people in a way, I guess, away from suicide.
Te maramatanga invites us into his lounge, and while we're setting up our mics, he's having a cuddle with his pepe.
When he was born and just looking at him, it's like, that's buzzy ass, because you're like, bro, I made this, you know? This guy was a sperm cell and I made him. It's just unbelievable that humans can make humans, you know? It's like, it just buzzes me out. It's crazy, it's crazy. I know, I've seen it many times on TV and everything, therefore I'll do it myself, you know? It's like, bro, it's like, man, I just produced this.
Eventually, Te maramatanga's partner comes to take baby for a nap. Just like with his music, it doesn't take him that long to get into the tough stuff.
I actually lost two brothers, One was to suicide. That was my oldest brother. His name was Simon. He passed away when he was 20 years old. That was way back in 2004. That there was kind of like a sort of wake-up call for my family. Like, we never had a suicide in our family. So when that happened, it was kind of like a shock. Me, I was young. I was still trying to understand what was going on. It was my first funeral I've ever been to. Never been to a funeral before. Don't know, don't even know what death is, at that age. But just wasn't all there. Didn't really know what was going on. Not until a few years later, then I realized, oh damn, that was my older brother and all that, and I have just so little memories about him. Then back in 2018, I lost another younger brother. His name was D'Artagnan. I don't know if you've seen the movie Three Musketeers. He was named after that character, D'Artagnan, on there. Yeah, he passed away in 2018. He was 17 years old. That one really, really took a big toll off me and my family too, It was a really dark, just a really dark place to be in for us. I took that one really personally. I grew up with the fella, and I loved him, and I was there with him 24/7, so for something like that to happen, it was quite a big gap, put into our lives. It did cause a lot of mental issues. I did flip out at times and break down a lot. I used to get phone calls sometimes and I used to panic. That's how I found out. I found out through a phone call. So every time I got a phone call during those times, I used to always not want to pick it up because I didn't want to hear news of someone passing away or news of my siblings being hurt or something. And it's a real big effect on just normal life things, It's normal to pick up the phone, but It's not normal to pick up the phone and find out someone, one of your loved ones is gone.
This is what it can be like to lose someone that you love out of the blue. Little things like picking up the phone suddenly become terrifying. If you don't have the time or the resources or the people that can help you process, it can feel impossible to return to anything like a normal life.
A lot of whānau would say we never saw it coming.
We're back now with our Mbama, Ricky Solomon.
But I would like to add to that is that we didn't hear it coming. Because there's tohu dropping.
I think it's important to mention that we're not saying whānau who've been through this type of loss weren't paying enough attention. For me, I think it's more that there are so many ways our internal world can impact on the external world around us. Maybe just by learning to read and hear these tohu, we can come together into stronger connection.
I use my children as an example. I can tell by the way the front door closes what sort of day they had. Or if their bedroom doors are closed when they're normally open, matangaro, there's something going on that's been hidden. When I say hearing it, we mean hearing it within our ears, but also hearing it within our ngākau, or hearing it within our paupuku, our intuition. There's something wrong, but we don't act on that. Those are the hearing that we're talking about.
When whānau come to see Ricky, he hopes that they'll leave empowered and determined, and he has a whole bunch of tools that he uses to help this. One of the tools that he uses, which he thinks is so powerful he's dedicated his PhD to it, is the maramataka. The maramataka is this knowledge system that we have around moon cycles, how they affect our internal and external worlds. This is how our tīpuna organise their time, and today it's slowly making a revival.
Maramataka was always used around planting kai, fishing. That's how we've always used it.
But
there's more to it. A number of years ago, I caught up with Papa Matua Reriata, and he was talking about the maramataka. Maramataka meaning the descension or falling of the moon. And so I went through my nan's journals, and in our whānau it was called He Maramatanga Māori. Maramatanga meaning to be enlightened. That changed the whole concept.
so Ricky started to understand that the maramataka can be used for so much more than the production and the harvest of kai. We can use it for guidance and enlightenment, and he started to wonder if he could apply that to his own mahi.
As I asked Papa Reriata, hey, can we track the incidence of suicide and determine it by looking at the maramataka? And he straight away said, yep, we can. So that's where it all began.
Before they started, Reriata Makiha told Ricky, if our maramataka is right, August should be the highest.
When we looked at our research, in July and August, especially August, was the highest month of suicide every year. That month was often known as Here Turikuka, but was also known as Te Pairangi.
Te Pairangi references a time when our atua were in battle. In Ricky's version of the story, this is the battle where Tāwhiri Mātea's eyes were cast into the sky to become matariki.
Tāwhiri left us a tohu of matariki to remind us that we're coming into the coldest part of the year. Not just our tinana, our wairua, our hinengaro. So when we have a look at celebrating matariki, matariki is not just about celebrating the new year. Matariki is a tohu to bring whānau together to celebrating to keep each other warm. And the other name for August, that period around that time, is known as Te Apunga. That's an old kupu. Te Apunga meaning our tūpuna will come and gather those that have been neglected, our wairua, our tinana, our hinengaro. So if we can't look after them, they will. They come and take those that have been neglected.
I'm listening to this kōrero and I can't help but feel heavy. Beyond whakamomori, I'm reminded that all of us at some point have these feelings of sadness, of heaviness, and being lost. I think maybe it's time for me to go see my own whānau. So we've just come over the hill and are entering into the beginning of the Waimana Valley. It's a very beautiful autumn day. I grew up on Matahi Valley Road. Heaps of our marae are on this road. Man, but yeah, this place, being here brings me a lot of joy. These mountains raised me in all of my formative years. I learned to drive along these roads. But Matahi Valley Road pretty much takes you right up into the valley as far as you can go. We are a long way from Tāmaki Makaurau now, on the rolling green hills and dusty roads of Te Urewera. This is Waimana, my home, the centre of my world. This is the place that brings me peace. My sister lives here still, just down the road from where I grew up. She's the one we're here to see.
Going for a drive up the valley. Oh, did you? Yeah.
We meet at one of our marae, Rahiri.
Rahiri o te rangi. This is our wharenui, and our wharekai is his wife, Ahua iti.
We grab some chairs and sit in the corner of the whare. I didn't spend a lot of time here as a kid because it was always being renovated. Today, though, we're surrounded by crisp white walls and beautiful photos of all of our tīpuna.
We just had one of our iramutu come from Auckland. Things were getting a bit heavy for her. So she come home and she came to sleep in our whare. And then when things had settled for her, she was ready to go back. And sometimes, you don't need others to be here. There's enough people here on e rina I runga I ngā pakitara. O tātou whānau wene. This can be a place of solace. This can be a place of peace. And sometimes that's all you need.
Before we kick off another one of our trademark 2-hour yarns, my big sis introduces herself.
Tēnā koe te taina. Ko taku ingoa ko Emma Kutia. Ko huna pā ko tātā hoata ki rua tāhuna ko Rahiri ki te Waimana Kāku. Wokuna hapu ko nai te riu ko ngā te rere, ko nai tūhoi te iwi ko hau tēnei. Tēnā tātou.
Like Ricky and Te Maramatanga, Emma spends a lot of time thinking about suicide prevention. It's been her job for almost 20 years now, and she's one of many grassroots kaimahi around the country.
So there was a research done in the late 90s. There was a bit of a concern arose around the fact that there were a lot more rangatahi Māori dying by suicide than those in motor vehicle accidents. A report was commissioned, and taku tuakana Keri Te Aho Lawson, she was the principal writer of that.
After seeing that report, the Ministry of Health kicked off a kaupapa called Kia Piki Te Ora o Te Tai Tamariki. Emma was encouraged to apply for one of the local roles. In those early days, it was specifically focused on rangatahi. These days, Kia Piki Te Ora is focused on outcomes for all Māori, which is maybe a tohu of how far-reaching this problem is.
I really struggled to think what would happen if there wasn't a kaupapa like Kia Piki Te Ora working in our Māori communities, especially knowing, the statistics haven't been good for Māori. Haven't been good for Māori at all, per head of population. And, just an example from when I started, back in 2002, the national rate of suicide for the whole of Aotearoa was just hitting 500. So from just hitting 500, back in 2002, we know that In the 2019-2020 period, there were 684 deaths that were by suicide. So that's huge. Māori have always featured high in the stats per head of population. So it's not getting any better. But, you know, Kia Piki Te Ora has a point of difference in how we deliver. It's through a kaupapa Māori focus. It's through whānau hapu iwi and hapori. We use what is inherent in us as Māori to become those protective factors.
It makes so much sense to me that if we're trying to improve the well-being of Māori, we rely on Māori solutions. But what are those solutions? Ricky Solomon has a couple of ideas.
There's the whakatauaki, which is a First Nation one, which basically goes, ako hea te tikanga, kia ako hea te pono, kia marama, ako hea te pūrākau, kia maumahara e whakairo te rawetia I te ngākau āki atu anō, which in essence is teach me the facts and I'll learn, tell me the truth and I'll understand, but tell me a story and I'll remember that forever in my heart.
Yes, whakatauki, pūrākau, waiata, karanga, whai kōrero. Our tīpuna were oral people and coded so much of the things they knew into verbal kōrero. These are some of the things that we call ngā taonga tuku iho, or the treasures passed down to us. And they are filled with guidance, advice, and affirmations of identity and belonging. One of the really annoying consequences of colonisation is that so much of this kōrero was obscured or destroyed. Some of the knowledge is still there, but some is gone forever. We know, though, that within Te Ao Māori, a story is never just a story.
And so that's what we did with the starter, was to indigenize it so it told a story. Then the whānau remember the story. They don't remember all the data, but they will remember the story that they're going through, and they're able to navigate themselves through their darkest time.
So here's an example. Within every lunar phase of the maramataka, every day has a different name. Those names offer us guidance for what we should be getting up to on that particular day. One of them is Oturu, and it's a time when we do see suicide statistics get higher.
If you look in the whakapapa of Wiremu Tāwhai, what he writes about it, Oturu means calm and beauty approaches. Because someone that's going through their hara or their taumaha, they're looking for their calm and beauty. The day before Oturu was often a day called atua whakahaihai. Now atua whakahaihai means the atua are in disagreement, meaning when we look at an individual, if they're conflicted, ahinengaro, a tinana, a wairua, the day before Oturu, you would observe and watch them and make sure they're safe. Because if someone's going through a real heavy taumaha, Oturu would be the paw that they would use because they're looking for their calm and beauty.
Māori experience significantly higher rates of mental illness and suicide compared to non-Māori. These issues do not exist in a vacuum but are reflective of actual structural oppression. It makes sense to me then that our solutions are also structural. Land back is suicide prevention, whakapapa is suicide prevention, climate action is suicide prevention, and so too is connection, whānau, community care. This is something I talk about with Te Maramatanga. For him, being able to talk openly with his community has been huge.
Yeah, hard, yo, especially with the bros, the crew. We're a collective and we do this stuff together, just being around people that you know you can trust with your word, you know, people that you know you can express your feelings without being embarrassed, express how how things are without being ashamed of it, you know. I feel like just me to explain what it's like firsthand, I feel like it just helps me a lot mentally too, you know. It stopped me from getting real bad mental health issues, you know. It stopped me from falling ill to all that sort of stuff.
And another source of healing for Te Maramatanga is his art.
Writing about it was a huge outlet. It really restored a lot of mana that I lost from it. It sort of rebuilt it just from me expressing it in music. It's a healing process as well for me. It really uplifted me in times where I needed it. So for me to use that as influence to speak about it and to reach out to other people that are going through it right now, you know, it just makes me happy that I'm able to help others get through it as well as my own self.
When my days getting dark and my car won't start, my new emails getting changed for free. All I gotta do is spread love. Call my cuz like you got spare change for me. Time will come, you know I owe you back for all the things you did for me. Whatever you need, homie, you can call me. Depression, misery, my G, lean on me. We all gotta eat, gotta keep the faith, gotta hold on, you know time don't wait. We all gotta eat, gotta keep the faith, gotta hold on, you know time don't wait. We all gotta eat, gotta keep the faith, gotta hold on, you know time don't wait. We all gotta eat, gotta keep the faith, gotta hold on, you know time don't wait.
When we come back to everything we've learned from Ricky about the maramataka, we know that our whānau have always lived in a way that was aligned with the cycles of the taiao. Unfortunately, the Western calendar that we have to live with isn't at all aligned with that taiao flow. Maybe we're at a point of the maramataka where we should be taking a rest, but it's a Tuesday and you've got work in half an hour and you've got no sick days left. Most of us can't live in total alignment, but even a little bit of knowledge can be so helpful.
What we teach is whānau to be balanced, find their balance in both of these worlds. It's all right for us that might grow up in the rural community, we can go 100%. If we're off the grid, we can go 100% maramataka. However, if you're in an urbanised area, you have to balance between. And that's where the power sits, because you can go, oh, today's Monday, but I feel so tired. And then you go, oh, on the kore face. But what that does, then it can give you the ritual or the practice to get you through that. And it could be, oh, I just need to go to the mourner, boom. And as you connect with the why, boom, you're kia tau again. So that's how the mara is, finding that balance between both. And that's one of the secrets of it.
If you're not really sure where to start, it really is just about slowly diving into all of this knowledge that we have. There are apps you can download and books you can go and buy. More than anything, it's about just doing what our tīpuna did. Going outside, looking at the sky and making observations. The best thing about our mātauranga is that it is so relational. The maramataka for Ngāpuhi will not work for kahununu. If you can, try find the knowledge that specifically applies to where you are. We're coming to the end of today's episode, but I did want to finish with a little more hope and some big dreams. Let's hear from our kai kōrero about what they want for the future of their whānau and their mokopuna.
I dream of a world that we are environmentally centric versus human being centric. That we take care of our tuakana first. And as we heal our planet or te taiao, we naturally heal ourselves.
For te maramatanga, any thoughts about the future are centred on his baby son.
The environment I want him to grow up in is just the same environment I grew up in, you know. Aside from the poverty, you know, I'd always want him to be fed. I'd always want him to be happy, and I always want him to chase whatever dreams he feels like chasing. But I always want him to just be like how I was, always playing outside, you know, running in my nappies or whatever, you know, just being himself, be free, you know, and do what makes you feel good.
As for my sister, She's been working as a kaimahi in suicide prevention for almost 20 years now, and the statistics are just getting worse. When I ask her to tell me about her hopes for the future, she starts with a story.
So te Ahi Kōmau were the buried volcanic fires, because that was the sign of occupation in Moai. You could tell that that place or that piece of land was occupied by the burning fires. And our people moved to different places over the seasons. The ashes of the fires were buried and left to smoulder in Rūaumoko's domain. And then when they returned, the spark was put back into those fires and they burned brightly once again. For us as kaimahi within Kia Piki, we're those kaihiga ahi. We're the ones that give that initial puff of breath to the fire, to give it the spark.
For now, Emma and other kaimahi are working hard to reignite those sparks. But one day,
I would love not to have a job, because then I would know that my whānau would be able to advocate for themselves. They'd be able to support themselves. They do not need a middleman to do that for them, and they will have the kaha and street to know who they are. So, yeah, that's my answer to that, is to get our people to that place where I know they've been before. And we can do that again with time. So, koina, five cents worth.
I'm going to have a tangi.
Oh, stop it.
big aroha to te maramatanga Ricky and Emma for your kōrero. This is such a complex topic, but I think and I hope that when we kōrero, we can start to make sense of it all. We can weave historical impact and contemporary issues, and we can hold space to move together towards the kinds of futures that we want for all of us, towards our own Ahi Kōmau. This episode has been really hard and heavy at times, so I really want to encourage you to go and have a kai, take a moment of rest, sing a waiata, or find someone that you trust to debrief with. If you need someone to talk to, you can call or text 1737 for free at any time to speak to a trained counsellor. You can also call Lifeline on 0800 543354. Coming up next, we have an episode in Te Reo Māori. We're going to head to the very bottom of Te Waipounamu to learn about mahinga kai practices and have a mean feed.
Bon appetit. Bon appetiti. Bon appetiti. Te reka.
Te Maramatanga is going to read us a poem now. It's by Tupac, and it's the piece of writing that inspired him to start writing his own thoughts down.
Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's laws is wrong, it learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its streams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete, where no one else ever cared.
He Kākano Ahau was hosted, produced and co-written by me, Kahu. Melody Thomas is the other co-writer and producer for the series. She also edited with the help of Kirsten Johnstone. Big mihi to our production assistants, Tahira Maia Nahi, Briar Pomana, India Logan Riley, Rebecca Parangi. Our accounts manager is Alison Pearce. Our reo advisor is Jamie Tehuia Cowell. Mark Chesterman is the series engineer, and Ursula Grace and Francis Morton are the executive producers. Music for the series created by Ruby Soli, Ma and Ranui Mars, and our cover art is by Huriana Kopeke Te Aho. So many thank yous to our poets and creatives, Ranui Mars, Zembri Aulani, Marati K, Taranaki Young Grace, Trinity Thompson Brown, and Sinead Overby. Big mihi to the folks at RNZ, Megan Whelan, Shannon Honui Thompson, Justine Murray and Tim Burnell. This podcast was made with the support of RNZ and New Zealand On Air. The final big thank you is to all of our kai kōrero who shared their thoughts, hopes and dreams for this season of He Kākano Ahau. We are so grateful. This kaupapa is for generations of Indigenous babies to come. May you be grounded, may you be hopeful, may you always be able to find your way home. Aroha nui.